welcome to my Sunday. Let me just this one Sunday live. I hope everybody's okay, doing great. I don't know where you are from, guys, but I'm from Moscow, and here is a really good weather today. So yeah, I hope everybody's doing great. And again, thank you and welcome to my live Sunday live. This Sunday live, we are going to hi there, hi, happy to be there. Me too. Thanks, Tony. This Sunday live, we're going to talk about 8 drone camera movements, the traditional, very popular 8 drone camera movements, and some variation on those 8 camera movements. And yeah, so here it is, drone 8 drone camera movements. And I will be explaining all of them. I will show you examples and from my work, and we'll be talking about what I do and what I don't do usually, and some tips and tricks and stuff like that. And then we just for you guys to practice and to use them for your next film or for your next video and stuff like that. So let's start from the beginning. The first one, what we're going to talk about is all-time favorite, classical and classy, straightforward and straight backward. Is the first things what everybody's doing when they buy a drone. When they're going up, and flying forward, flying backward. There's nothing wrong with this. It's very classical. If you look at the films of traditional Hollywood films or European films, whenever films they're using a drone, aerial drone footages or aerial drone movements, they always will include some like straight forward, straight backwards. It's very good establishing shot, and and there's nothing wrong with this, and I really love this style. I mean, since it's very popular and since it's very classical and even very traditional and very even basic, but I really like them to do that based on what I'm shooting and my style. I really like them. Something like traditional, classical stuff like that. You're flying, your camera could be actually pointing down a little bit or pointing up a little bit, or just straight, 0 degrees. It's variation, classical, forward, backward, very nice, traditional nice shots. Something like that. Very, very classical, very traditional. Nothing to it. You can also go down, descending or ascending when you're flying, and have a little bit more movements. Yeah, it's just a little bit of variation on that theme, but again, very classical, very traditional, straightforward. Second one is a sideways. It's a variation on a straightforward, straight backward. When you're flying again straight, flying on the left, flying left or right side. Something like, sorry, I have to scroll back and forward because the not very good Instagram UI, which is give me my presentations on the slides on the bottom and all my short drone clips on the top, and I have to slide them back and forth. Sorry for that, but I hope you forgive me. And something like sideways. Okay, let me find the sideways. Something like they not include them. Oh Jesus. Wow, thank you very much, Instagram. You're not including the sideways. Oh yeah, okay. This is a traditional, again, traditional classical sideways. The only problem with the sideways when you're flying, and be careful with that, is that when you're flying on prolonged flight, and just because of the your drone is lightweight, it could be lightweight. Your horizon could tilt a little bit. Something like if you're flying right, it will be tilted right, or left if you're flying left. So be careful with that. Practice. Fly slower, or fly not so long on a long path, and maybe take it 2-3 times. I usually have this. I have slight tilt, tilt horizon, which is not very nice. But again, it's because the drone is actually flying sideways, and it's lightweight, or it's like wind, It's much, it's, something to, again, to practice. Low flight on the sideways is really, really, I would say cool, because you're flying very low. You can see the distinction between the further side and the closer side, so it's really nice to fly, and the reflection and stuff like that. There is a lot of variation, and for example, this one, you can go up, flying sideways and up, or flying sideways and down. Some variation on that theme again. It's up to you, but again, very traditional, very classical shot. But again, be very careful not to tilt your horizon too much. It's possible to post-process this and correct that at later stage, but unfortunately, if you are using 4K, like 4K, you have to zoom out a little bit and do the post-production or post-correction on the horizon. And again, just fly a little bit slower, fly, not so far, and just to be, just to use, not. I mean, I didn't mean not to use, but just be careful and be aware of your surroundings, and obviously the wind as well is playing a huge role in that. So that's number 2, is playing sideways. Again, you can go up, down, you can tilt camera a little bit up, a little bit down, you can go, ascending and descending with your drone, and then, it's a typical, very classical shot as well. So that's number 2. Number 3 is, oh, sorry, that's number 7. Oh my God, why is this, everything is, okay, sideways. Okay, this one. Oh, sorry. So number 3, reveal. Who doesn't love the reveal? The classical, very traditional shot, but again, very, very powerful in in the drone films or any other movement, but especially in the drone, where you moving your camera up and down and revealing your subject or moving sideways. For example, this one. The reveal, when you first move your camera is first pointing out on the ground actually, and slowly you're flying forward and slowly revealing your shot, your subject into the frame. You can fly backward, flying backward, and you also raising your camera up. My tip for you guys is to experimenting with a dial of the camera dial on your remote, and actually sensitivity on that, so you're not going to move it super fast and it's stuck at the top position of the move, and make the there is a settings that allow you to actually have a little bit of maneuver after you release your jog dial, and it's just slowly going. For example, you're flying back and pointing camera up. It's not stopping. Stopping suddenly, but it's actually give you like easy in or easy out on the movement, something like that. So experimenting with the settings, and you will have a nice nice transition, nice stop without any jittering, without any sudden stops and something like that. Again, here is like this, so you just slowly revealing your shot. Everybody's shooting style is different, of course, so experiment with that. You can maybe on one example of that you want to reveal it fast, another example you want to reveal it slow, so experiment with these settings. And there is you can also even store the settings where you can say you can have a slower movement of the jog dial of the camera, or actually faster jog dial speed of the remote. And also at the end of this video, I will show you one tip which you can even bypass all of this settings and do it manually, but do it with really good precision as you wish. But stay tuned and I will show you that. Again, another reveal example is sideway reveal, when you're flying out of the subject and revealing the a nice landscape, cityscapes, or subject, or secondary subject. It's very nice when you have something blocking the camera at the beginning, maybe partially like here, or fully, and then you just moving sideways and revealing your subject. So that's a reveal as well. So this is number 3. Number 3 movement is a reveal. Let me find number 4. I hope okay, this one. Yeah, number 4, a flyby. Really popular. Again, you should be extremely cautious. You have to be extremely cautious all the time when you're flying, but with a flyby, you have to be even more cautious about your environment, about the subject you're flying, because you're flying much closer to a subject, and I will show you what I meant. And but still, when you have like something, let me show you, something like that, flying, you're flying by some subject and revealing and showing other, everything behind this is really cool, and again, really classy. I really like that one, and it's so powerful, especially with drone, especially when you're up in the air. But again, be careful with the flying near the objects. And what I usually do, if I want to be an extra careful, especially if because I'm using Mavic 2 Pro, I'm actually doing and switching to HQ mode. I think it's called HQ instead of FOV. HQ mode give me more compression on my picture, but also, technically I am flying further away from an object, but seeing a little bit closer than usually. For example, this shot was shot on HQ, and it seems like I'm flying quite close to the object, but instead I am flying a little bit further. And instead of doing all the FOV and flying closer to subject, switch to HQ if you are in the Mavic 2 Pro users, and fly a little bit further and give you more security in that instance. Or for example, this one as well, this nice flyby, and as you can see, you have to be very careful where you're flying. Because for example, in this video, I am flying sideways. I could not see where my drone going if I'm standing, too far from an object, and there is like a two these towers here, and I was afraid maybe I bump into a second tower. So be very careful, see everything before you're flying, and again, use HQ for visually closer to a subject, but technically further away from a subject when you are flying. Another, this one, for example, this one is like, again, this is flyby with the reveal at the end. So very nice as well. It's not fully loaded video, but you can imagine it's flying further away and revealing all the cityscapes. So actually that's also a combination of flyby and a reveal in one shot is very nice. And actually what I'm doing when I'm shooting, I'm not particularly drawn into single one of this movements like fly forward, or backward, or sideways, or reveal, or something else. I am actually experimenting on the location with different multiple movements. So back at my at my studio, back at my editing and post-processing, I have many options to actually choose. For example, maybe I like this shot with the flyby, maybe I like this shot with the reveal, or maybe I like this shot when you just flying straight forward to this beautiful cityscape. And then later on at the post-processing time, I have more to choose from and to see what is best for my montage or for my edit. That was number 4, which is flyby. Again, there is so many variation. I'm showing you the general concept of the movement. Next one is actually, okay, that was flyby. Next one, top down. I think that's extremely popular, extremely classical, extremely easy to do, and because when they actually drone aerial photography, drone aerial videography came about to us, to people who can afford that, not flying on helicopters and with multiple millions of dollars of equipment, but for us who can afford that, this top down was presented. For us, presented an amazing opportunity to see a completely different side view, completely different compositional view of your environment, completely different way of shooting, and the top down, again, it's very, very popular. and a very easy to do technique. There is multiple combination of that, and I will just show you a few of them. A simple, straightforward flying, forward, sideways, forward, backward, left side, right side. It's just a simple, a traditional fly. This one, combining some, revealing some subject, flying past by the subject, really, I think it's very powerful, especially when there is nothing else and it's just to see the subject, flying by. Again, be careful, and if you have a Mavic 2 Pro, just switch to HQ to see, to be visually closer to a subject, which I already talked about. Another one, you can fly up or down. Again, just camera minus 90 degrees down, and you can just fly up or down, and it's really, give you an absolutely different compositional, different perspective on, traditional and maybe even boring shot. Imagine this situation where there's no clouds, no sun, there's nothing, and it's just for straightforward fly backward or any other movements, it will be a little bit dull and boring. But as soon as you turn camera down, and it's wow, this is amazing. And this is another one is just flying straight down without any further movement. Really powerful start or intro to your films or to your video, powerful intro to your video. Another combination is when you're rotating, again, camera straight down, and you're rotating and you see your subject rotating, and you see the movements or people walking, and there is many variation on that topics, on the top-down topics, top-down camera movement, and you can experiment with that on your own, on your own pace. But again, just don't forget about this one. It's very powerful. And again, combine every movements on the actual shoot, so you can choose that later on in the post which one you'll prefer. Because when you are doing the post-production, it's nice to have a different movements, going one after another. For example, if you are doing like 20 of flying backward or flying forward and flying backward, it will become very easily boring. But if you're combining shots like top downs, flyby and reveals and many other, you can actually choose later on and choose which one do you like, and there will be less repetitiveness and less boring in the post-production and the editing stage. But if you didn't shoot that, you have nothing to actually choose from. So again, this was number 5, which was an actual top-down, very popular techniques of camera movement. Let me go to the next one, which is orbit. Again, traditional, now it's even more and more accessible to everyone who's flying a drone, because of the powerful, custom settings in the DJI Go app. You can just simply select the subjects you want to rotate and just press rotate, clockwise or anti-clockwise, and then you can fly easily. It's just automatic. And because of that, the orbit now become very a traditional, very popular techniques of movement of the drone camera. And actually, for example, this one was done automatically. I wouldn't even, I don't even do anything. But as myself, I prefer, because I started early in the early days of flying drone air, and I prefer to do it manually. So I'm just playing with the 2 sticks, gently pressing one stick going around, and another one is just camera movement and stuff like that. But again, you can use creative settings for the DJI in the DJI Go app, where you select this football field, and you just flying around, and you can have speed. You can adjust the speed of the movement. You can adjust the size of the movement. So it's very easy. So don't, experiment with this at your own pace, of course, and experiment with that. And for example, this one as well, that was done manually. But again, I prefer some time to do that manually, and of course it's going around and around. But Instagram stories is not playing it fully. But anyway, you get the idea. So it's just the subject, you selecting your subject and you go around. While you're doing that, that's just a straightforward, you're flying around in a circle around the selected subject. But what you can do to get it more, a little bit of spice into this movement, is you actually, before that, it's very popular in the cityscapes and landscapes and stuff like that. But what you can do actually with this, and you can go down and you can go up while you're actually rotating around your subject, and it gives you more, like a more spice and more interesting aspect of the actual, just a traditional orbit. And again, this will be in that particular instance, it will be even easier to, if you're using custom DJI presets for flying around, and then you are controlling only one stick, which goes up and down. You can also go, further away from a subject, closer away to your subject, and it will be, drawing a circle. But again, you are probably all familiar with these techniques when you are, playing with this, creative customs settings in a DJI Go app. What next? The next one is actually going to be number 6 was orbit, and number 7 is a crane. What's the crane? Crane is actually emulating the techniques of emulating the movement of the actual camera on a crane. When you're shooting a film, big budget films, or any other films, you actually have an option to put the camera, real camera, cinema camera onto the actual crane, and you can move it up or down and sideways and stuff like that. And this movement and actually emulating this movement, and what you actually do is you just flying up or down, and you also can rotate the camera up or down as well to have more movements and more parallax effect. Something is, especially when you have a subject which is closer to your camera and subject which is further away from your camera. I'm not particularly liking that the crane movement so much, because it reminds me, especially in the drone world, it reminds me of so many people doing when they first trying to do the drone video, they actually flying up with the drone, starting from a ground and flying up, and that remind me a little bit of it's actually a variation of a crane movement, and it's actually remind me that, and it's a little bit cheapened for me the actual film, your film or your video. So I'm not really particularly keen on that. But again, in some circumstances, you actually have a very powerful shot with the subject, something like that. Or for example, you can fly down and flying your camera up and stuff like that. But you need to have a real good subject for that, and also don't start from a ground when the propeller is spinning and the drone is shaking and you start flying. Just cut this part and use just a nice crane movement part. Otherwise, it will look like somebody is just trying to do some first time drone movement and stuff like that. So that was the number 7, which is actually crane movement. Yes, number 7, crane. And number 8, it's a camera tracking. Again, thanks to the DJI and technology of DJI, and they have a creative presets to do an actual tracking of the camera. To my way of shooting, I don't really, again, I'm not shooting too much of a track. You know, I'm not tracking subject or people or I don't know, animals or cars or anything else. I'm not using the track moving so much. But I know there is so many variations, so many people are shooting that, you know, shooting sport commercials and sports films and stuff like that. So they are very popular in that area, in that types of films. So again, it's a traditional shot. When you're tracking some subject, you can go further than, you know, faster than a subject, so the subject will be out of frame. You can go slower than a subject, the subject could be out, you know, could accelerate out of the frame. For the frame, you can stay dead center on the subject. You only need to, again, to point out on the DJI app. If you're using a DJI and not doing it manually, just point it out on the subject and say track, and you see the speed. And with the newly technology, they're improving this tracking. You know, it's 3.0 now. I didn't test it 3.0 yet, but I heard it's a very high appraisal on that, and therefore I think it will be, you know, easier for you to do such a tracking movement. Again, you can fly around the car. There's so many possibilities, and flying above and stuff like that. But again, I'm a different type of shooting scenario. I'm using different type of shooting scenario for my film. I don't use so much of the track. But again, sometimes I do stuff like that. It's, you know, just flying around the car, not even tracking that. Again, there's so many variations, so many techniques, so many sub movements of this, you know, whole generation of, whole range of the track movement. But I think you got an idea. So again, if I just quickly repeat all of this John camera movements, all of 8 of them, it's a it's a straight forward, straight backward, sideways with you know, up and down. Sometimes you can do that as well. Reveal, you know, side reveal, or just you know, normal straightaway reveal. You can point down camera just minus 90 degree and slowly up, or slowly down, moving camera slowly down. Flyby, just you know, a traditional flyby the object with the parallax effects, very nice, especially when the object is near to your camera. Top down, many variation of top down, spinning around and going up and down and stuff like that. Orbit, you know, traditional orbit, easy to do, especially with the automatic settings. Crane, you know, when you're going up and going down and moving your camera up and down, you know, just to emulating the crane movement of the actual, you know, camera movement. Track, when you're tracking subject, people or cars or animals, and I see a lot of, you know, beautiful tracking of animals and people, you know, but it's not just my particular cup of tea. Before we go, I want to show you something else. I want to show you the bonus number 9. So I was talking about earlier, the actual way to control your camera without any settings, you know, without, you know, moving, you know, making this jog dial moving slowly, you're moving your camera slowly or faster. You can actually do it yourself, especially if you're, you know, if you're using the latest drones like Mavic 2 Pro, for example, which I was using and highly recommend. That's called the first part. It's on-screen camera. It's not highly advertised, or, you know, not everybody knows about this feature, but I think the DJI should advertise this because it's a beautiful, not beautiful, but it is beautiful. It could be beautiful video out of this, but it's very simple, very easy techniques to do. What you actually do is just put your finger on a screen, on a touch screen, and start rotating your this blue circle, and the further away it goes from a white dot, the faster the camera is moving. Sorry for the jittering. I think it's 24 FPS, and that's why it's playing so jittery. But it's buttery smooth when you're playing actually like that. So what you actually do, you can control your camera with that. When you can also control your movement. You can go down, you can go up, you can go sideways and everything. But you also can control your camera movement. Ask somebody else to actually do it for you, or you can do it yourself. And because of this is kind of manual stuff, because of that you can do it faster. You can do, you can move the camera up and down, sideways and 300 degrees, not 300, but almost like 180 degrees or something like that. And you can move it faster or you can move it slower, and it actually depends on what you're doing with your with your finger on the screen. Nothing to do with any other settings, and you don't have to do the settings manually and have like 2 or 3 settings set. You can actually do whenever you want in your camera on your screen, and as fast or as slow as you want. And I use it a lot of time. Again, it's not very advertised, it's not too much popular, but I think it's a brilliant idea. Let me know if somebody else experienced on other drones. I'm not owning every drone available, but I'm sure it's I mean, not sure, but 100% sure that it's available on Mavic 2 Pro. Another one, which if you remember this, the caption, it was dual control. Dual control. Again, I think it's only for Mavic 2 Pro, but dual control give you an ability to control your movement independent of the camera movement. So imagine you have dual control. I mean, there's basically 2 controls. You are actually attaching. No, it's not attaching. I think you're. What's the word? I forgot the word, but yeah, I think you understand. You are actually connecting. Oh yeah, connecting to drone control to one drone, and with one control, which is going to be a main control, you can control movement of the camera, movement of the flight, but also the second control can a remote control can control your camera. So if you have 2 people, they can do on-screen control, they can do jog dial control, they can do whenever they want, and they will be proprietary. Is that the word? So they will be actually controlling the camera when you're controlling the movement. It's very nice. I didn't try it yet because I didn't have a second control, but I see people doing that, and it's absolutely brilliant. And I think it's way to go. It's much more versatile, and you can create with that. You can create much more sophisticated moves if you require, and much more precise moves, and actually much more the movement you actually wanted from the beginning. Instead of doing 25 takes and failing every one of them, you can actually spend if you have a partner, friend, or spouse, or whatever, you can actually give them ability to control a camera. And again, the first control will be a main control, and it will take precedent of everything if something goes wrong. And the second control will only control the camera. And again, this is really good techniques to do what you want, to do the exact movement, and try crazy combination of the movement. And again, as I told you before, I also on a location I try to do all of this 8 or less movements, so I have a variety of shots for me to choose on the post production stage. Which one do I like? Which one goes from another? And if I don't shoot them, I don't have nothing to actually to choose from. So yeah, just experiment, do just straightforward, straight backward, some rotation, some orbit, some reveal and stuff like that, and then experiment more. That's what I actually do. Before we go, I just want to say that this particular live and a couple of others which I've done before is just a short passage, short part of my bigger short drone film masterclass, which I do individually via Skype online, and it's 2 or 3 days where I talk everything about drone movements, camera movements, settings, what's making the actual drone videos, drone footages cinematic, film-like. And then it's in the first part. In the second part, I'm talking about DaVinci Resolve and how to post-process it, from media to editing to color correction, or of course sound effects, VFX, and delivering the footage, archiving footage. Also, I do a Q&A section, and talking about importance of the posters for the films and competitions and film festivals, because I've been a judge for a couple of 3 of them already, and some competition as well. So all of this is in my short drone film masterclass, which you can see much more in details on my website, which again easily accessed. If you go to my Instagram and click on the link in my profile, you can go straight away to this masterclasses. I have a couple of them, and you can go to short drone masterclass and see in more details what I'm talking about, and if you can decide for yourself if you want to participate or not in that. And just to finish it up, I just recently released my aerial photography post-production tutorial. That's the old one tutorial, but still all the workflow of this particular tutorial, which is done in a little bit in Lightroom and mostly in Photoshop, I do for every aerial or ground photography. And it's this workflow, even if again the actual shot and actual post-production tutorial is a little bit old, but still the workflow is what I use through all of my post-production of the actual images. So you can check it out, and it's just $10, $10 US, and again you can access it very easily. Go to my profile, click on the link, and there will be all of my tutorials or online courses or education, and you just click on that and buy. And I hope this short live with drone camera movement was actual help for you. If you have any question, just reach me directly, reach me on Instagram, on Facebook, or via email, and I will think of some other useful topics for you